Hello, in this video first we'll configure the Apache to run the CGI script and then we'll move towards the coding part. So let's begin. In my XAMPP server, so I have the XAMPP localhost server. So in my XAMPP server, I'll go to the conf directory and look for the file httpd.conf. So in this file, you have to make sure that the script alias line is present. So this line should be there indicating the directory in which the Python CGI script is present. So this /CGI/bin is actually referring to this directory. So in my form, so when I created the form for my search box, so this is the code for it, and it has this line CGI-bin, which is actually referring to this directory. And when I write this module1_youtube.py, which means go to that directory and look for the file module1youtube.py. So this is the code, and this indicates the directory in which the CGI script file is present, and the query will go from here into the CGI script. So this is the first line which should be present. Then you can come to line 259. In this line should be present. So this line basically tells that yes, the server is permitted to run the CGI script, so it can execute the CGI script. And in line 419 you can see that this line should present the add handler line. So this add handler basically shows that yes, the server has the permission to run files with .py extension, .cgi extension, .pl extension, and .asp extension. So if any file is present inside the CGI bin folder with these extensions, then the server can run these files. Alright, if you have done all three, or if you're done with all these three lines, which means you are ready to go with the coding of the CGI script. So this line, the first line here, it shows the path of your Python exe. So and then you have to do the import. Then you have to import the modules CGI, and CGI, without which you cannot run the CGI script. So you have to enable it, and since you are displaying the result of a CGI in form of a HTML pop-up, so you have to write this print content type text HTML. Alright, so coming down here, come on, yeah, so coming down to the coding of the, so once we type anything here, so we can type anything here in the search box, and that should come inside the CGI script. So what we are doing, we are storing that using the class called field storage class. So this field storage is enabling us to store that elements coming from the page. So it is stored in a variable called form, and we are checking if the form has a key called search box. So from where did search box come in? So search box has come from here. So whatever we type in the search box in the web page, that has a name attached to it. So we have attached the name of the search box. Alright, so there's a name attached to it, and the value is whatever we type in there. So like if we type anything, if we type customer, so we are giving the value customer, but the name associated with customer is search box. So the name associated with customer is search box. So the name is search box and the value of search box is customer. Alright. So we are searching that if form has any key called search box, right? So if the form has a key called search box, then we have to get the value of that key. Alright, so likewise here the value of the key will be customer. So the key is search box, the name is search box, and the value of the key is customer. So we are getting the value and we are storing it in search term. Alright, so once we get the value, we have to strip it, because it can be like we type in customer and we give spaces. So we have to make sure that there are no spaces. Alright, so that's why in order to ensure that there are no spaces, we use the strip function. Alright, so strip removes all the white spaces from the end and from the beginning. So, and then once we have stripped it, we will split the value. So splitting the value is very essential, because the user may not only search for a single word. So whenever the user will search, the user will search for a series, a sentence. So a sentence can have multiple words. So, but our lookup function here has been built to operate with only one word. Alright, so don't worry, we will use the entire sentence. If the user inputs an entire sentence, we will operate the entire sentence, but breaking that sentence into words, alright, so that it can be fetched into the lookup function. Okay, so once we have splitted it, which means we are converting it into a list, and that list we are naming as L1. So we just want to print the list L1. Print. So first we will print the search term. Let's see if the search term that is coming inside this, and so we are not looking for this search term, because this search term is okay, we are looking for this search term, then this search term will actually contain the value. Like in the case that we considered, the search term will be customer, and the search term gets modified, it gets stripped. So if I type print search term, then I must get the stripped search term. Alright, and also, so first let me run that. So we run that. So let it be an entire sentence like I'm a customer. I submit it. So the search term is I am a customer. Alright, so you see here that we typed I am a customer, then as I said, we have to it gets a name associated with it. The name associated with it is search box, and the value associated with the search box is I am a customer. So that's what we did. We printed the value associated with it, because at the end we are getting the value here. Alright, so we print the search term, and what if we print li? So let's run it again. So see, this is li from here to here. It's a Python list, and the list just splits this entire sentence into 3 words. First word is this, second word is this, the third word is this. Now what we have to do, since we have got the individual words, now we will take the individual words and we will fetch those words into the lookup function. Alright, so we have created a dictionary called D1, and we are moving through the list. So for J in li, which means we are moving through the list, which means we are moving through each words in the sentence, and we are fetching each word inside a lookup function. So the lookup function will return the URL associated with that word. Alright, so if you have studied dictionary, Python dictionaries, then you must know that there is a key value. The dictionary exists in the form of key value pairs. So here I am mentioning that the key is J, which means the key is the word itself, and the value associated with it will be the whatever the lookup function will return. So if the lookup function will return the URL associated with the word, then the key will be the word and the value will be the URL returned by the lookup function. Alright, so just for showing, if I print D1, let me see what comes as the value. So I'll rerun it. So this is D1. So as I said, the key will be the word and the value will be the URL associated with the word. Alright, so the URL associated with the word is index.php, contactus.php, aboutus.php, and services.php. Alright, similarly for the word customer, when this word customer is fetched inside the lookup function returns this URL, which means this word is present only inside this URL. A is present in this URL, this URL, this URL, and this URL. Alright, and the word I am is present in this URL. Okay, so return back. So we have printed D1. So in the next step, what we have to do, like here, we have collected URLs associated with the word. Alright, so now what we have to do, we have to look for that URL which contains all the words. So if I have to query for I am a customer, then this all the words present in I am a customer should be located inside one particular fixed URL. Alright, so that URL we have to display. So that URL is this. So we'll come up to the result. So remember that this is the final result. Alright, so for now only take your interest in this part. Alright, so we have to get the final URL which contains all the words, and that final URL is present somewhere here in this URL list. So if I just see it, then I see that the final URL is actually, so the if I manually see it, then the final URL is so index.php appears here, index.php appears here, and the index.php appears here. So somehow if I'm able to get the common URL, which means that will be the answer. So in order to do that, we declare another dictionary and we iterate through D1, and what we do for I in D1 items, which means D1 items is actually the value associated with each key in D1. Alright, so which means we are iterating through the URL. So this I will be URLs present in the D1. So we are iterating and getting each URL. And what we do, d2.setDefault I, which means earlier here what we got words associated with URLs. Sorry, URLs associated with word. Now what we have to do, we are forming another dictionary called D2, in which the key will be URL and the value will be word. So this I is actually the URL, which will be the key, and this dot append will be actually appended to this list. Alright, so this dot append item is actually referring to the word here. So in D2 the key will be URL and the value will be word. So you'll get to know why we are reversing it, so that we get the common URL. So we iterate. So if I display the D2, so print D2, so if I print it, you will see that we get the common URL. Alright, we printed it, and it starts from here. So here what you see, let me add a break here. Alright, so now it's more clearly visible. So this is D2. So in D2 what we see, you can compare D1, this was D1, and this you can compare D1 with D2. You will see that in D2 the key is URL and the value is the word. So like A has appeared in this URL, and this URL is the key and it's associated with word this. Again the key is this URL and the word is this, this and this. So we get a common URL for each word present in the query. Alright, so this was aim. Now simply we have to extract this URL. So for that what we are doing, we are iterating through D2. So how will D2.items will look like? So just see, if I say D2.items, so D2.items will convert it into a list form. So it converts in list, the square bracket signifies list. So everything will be same there, but it will just get converted into list so that we can iterate it. So remember in Python, it's better to iterate through a list. Alright, so that's why we are first converting list and then we'll iterate it. So we are iterating it. So for k, D2.items, what we are doing, we are joining the words. So the words are present in the V section, because the K is, so this is K, all the URLs will be K and all the words will be V. So since we have to join the words, so we are using the join operator to join those words, because once we reach this URL, so we are iterating, so once we reach this URL and we get the value, so the value will be words, so we are joining the words. And what we are doing, we are checking if the length of S, alright, so once we join the word, so when our loop comes here and we join the words, so when we join the words and we will finally get a sentence which will be similar to this. Alright, so what we are doing, we are comparing the length of that sentence with the length of the search term. Alright, so as you can see that the length of this sentence formed will be equal to the length of this search term. So if that length is equal, then we are printing the K. Here the K will be the URL. So here you can see print %s percentile search term. The search term here will be the sentence that the user is querying for, and it will show that sentence at the rate. So this is actually a standard format for showing anything as a URL. So if I want to show this as a URL, so see here it is not showing as a URL, but here it is showing as a URL. So I can go here and click it. It will simply return me to the index.php. So to convert that into a URL, we must use this format. This is standard syntax, right? So we are converting K into URL for those and those S only whose length is equal to the search term. So and we are finally printing it. And of course when we are using a try block, then we must use the except block. So except name error if there is any name error. So it's better to use the except block, because while coding there may be some name error, and in case there is some name error, then that will be reflected in the output. Right, so that's it guys. I hope you liked it, and subscribe to my channel.